Hi, I'm Carolina with Always Expect More, and today I'm going to show you how to make this quilted pillow. Ready? Let's get started. To make our pillow, we'll need some supplies. Fusible fleece, a 14-inch pillow form, rotary cutter and ruler, and fabric. You'll want a 1/4 yard or fat quarter of your focus fabric, a fat quarter of your star fabric, a fat quarter of your background fabric, and a 1/2 yard of backing fabric. From our focus fabric, we're going to cut a 7.5-inch block, but we want to center this. So we're going to cut 3 3/4 inches from the center. On your ruler, find your 3 3/4 inch line and line it up with the center. Use other registrations on the fabric to center as best you can. Then cut. The other side will be easier. You can use your mat and just cut 7.5 inches from the end. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.5. Repeat this going the other direction. 3 3/4 inches from the center. This time, line up your top and bottom of your ruler to make sure that this is square. Your last cut is just 7.5 inches over. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.5. Now you've got your center square cut with a focus in the middle. Now we'll need to cut the other parts for our block. From the background, you'll need 4 squares each of 2 different sizes. 4 squares that are 4 inches each and 4 squares that are 4.5 inches each. From the fabric for your star points, you'll need 4 squares that are 4.5 inches each. Grab your 4.5-inch pieces from both colors and set the rest aside because we're going to work with these. From our 4.5-inch squares, we're going to make half square triangle blocks. Pick whichever fabric is lighter in color, put the other one aside. Take one square and draw a line. You're going to draw a line from corner to corner. You can just use a regular graphite pencil or your favorite quilting pen to do this. The mark is going to end up in the back in the seam allowance, so no one will see it anyway. However, if your background fabric is white, you don't want to go using a black permanent marker. Repeat for all your squares, and then we're going to sew. Take your 2 squares and put them right sides together. I'm using solid fabrics, so either side is the right side. I just want to make sure that my line is on the top fabric so that I see it when I sew. Stitch a scant 1/4 inch away from the edge of your line. What's a scant 1/4 inch? A scant 1/4 inch is a 1/4 inch minus a thread or 2. Stitch down one side, flip it over, then stitch down the other side. Repeat with your other 3 sets of squares. We're ready to cut our half square triangles apart. Start with one, line up, and cut. You can do this with scissors as well. If your 1/4 inch seam isn't a perfect 1/4 inch seam, it's okay. Your stitch is where it needs to be. Now press them open, with the seam allowance going towards the dark side. Once you've pressed your triangles with the seam allowance towards the dark side, square them up. We're squaring these to 4 inches. Line up your seam so it's at the correct angle right across. Make sure that you still have up to or past the 4-inch mark. Cut on 2 sides and turn. Then line up again, this time lining up along the 4-inch mark, along the 4-inch mark, and watching your angle. Trim the other 2 sides. And repeat with all 8 half square triangle blocks. We're almost ready to stitch our block together, but first let's lay out the block, make sure we have all the pieces and that we have them going in the right direction. Place your background squares in the corners, and then your half square triangle blocks along the sides. Don't worry that nothing is fitting together right now. We still have seam allowances in there. Double check that all of your pieces are in the right spot. It's very easy to have one turned and not realize it until after the whole thing is sewn together. Stitch your rows together as well as these parts together. Line up your pieces and use a 1/4 inch seam. Between stitching, it's okay to double check placement before you add the next piece. Once you've sewn your rows together, you'll want to press them. Also, after you sew your top and bottom 2 half square triangles together, make sure that you press those seams as well. When we press our rows, the outer rows, the seams are going to the outside. The middle row, the seams are going to go to the inside, and this outer row, these seams will go to the outside as well. Let's go ahead and press those. We're going to go ahead and stitch our rows together. We'd like it if our points match up. If it's not perfect, that's okay. This is handmade and it's made with love, and that's what counts. But if we can, we like it when our points match. The middle piece, we've pressed the seams toward the center, and the outer row, we've pressed the seams out. So when we put them together, we'll actually be able to feel with our fingers where those seams butt up. That's called nesting the seams. When they overlap, you'll feel the extra bulk, and when they're not quite lined up, you'll feel the gap. With experience, you'll get really used to this. Now we stitch these together with a 1/4 inch seam. If you want the center points on your star to look perfect, watch for this intersection right here, where the vertical line and the angled line come together, and aim to stitch right there. Once you're done pressing your block, press fusible fleece to the back, and we're ready to quilt. You can quilt however you like. You can use free motion quilting or a walking foot. I'm going to do a little free motion quilting. Remove your presser foot and add a free motion foot. Remember to lower your feed dogs whenever you're free motion quilting. Lower your foot and have some fun. Free motion quilting is a lot like riding a bike. You need to find that balance between yourself and the machine. And once you find that, it's simple to do and fun every time. You can even quilt words into your design. For the back of our pillow, we need to cut two 14.5 by 10.5 inch pieces. Mark a line 1/4 inch from the edge on both pieces. Then fold over on that line and press. Fold over again and press again. You'll have something that looks like this. Take this to your sewing machine and stitch all the way from one end to the other to secure. Now you have this. You need 2 of these for your pillow back. We have all the pieces for our pillow and we're ready to put it together. Put your pillow top right side up and then your backing pieces. You want these folded pieces up so that they don't show on your finished pillow. Line up the edges as best you can. Your pillow front might have shrunk a little bit when quilting, but don't worry. Your pillow form will still fit inside. Now pin around all the edges before we sew it together. We've pinned all the way around and now we're going to stitch all the way around. There's no need to leave a hole for turning in this project since our hole is already there. Take it to your sewing machine, press your foot down, and sew. Don't stitch over your pins. When you get close, pull your pin out, and then keep sewing. When you get to a corner, put your needle down, lift your presser foot up, turn 90 degrees, put your presser foot back down, and then keep sewing. Once we've sewn all the way around, we're going to clip our corners. This is going to reduce bulk so you get sharper points. Cut 2 to 3 threads away, making sure not to cut your stitching. If you cut your stitching, you will get a hole in the corner. Once we've clipped our corners, we can turn it right side out. Use your fingers to push the corners out. You might be tempted to grab your sharp scissors, but don't. You'll poke through and all that work we just did on your pillow will be ruined. Now we're just going to insert our pillow form and we'll be all done. I hope you've enjoyed learning how to make this quilted pillow. You'll find that once you've made one pillow, it's addicting. Be sure to give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it, subscribe for more crafty awesomeness, and check out the details below.